me and my Caribbean hair. Okay, you guys, I'm excited to talk to you today because I used to absolutely turn myself inside out. How many guys turn yourself inside out for your business right now? You're like trying to get it to work. Like, can you please work? And at the end of the day, I know how frustrating it is when you're working really hard, but you're not really getting the anticipated results, right? So first thing I want to tell you is have some grace with yourself, because you know, when you we don't expect a child to come out of the womb and just walk, right? We expect them to get up, fall down, stand, then walk. And that is entrepreneurship. But the quicker you get up, the quicker you make money. Okay, so I want that to be a target right now. I want everybody to write that down. The quicker you get up, so what is getting up? The quicker you make a decision, the quicker you make a decision on how much you're gonna charge, make a decision on what you're gonna sell, make a decision on if you're gonna have a year-long program, make a decision if you're gonna sell a widget or a product or whatever, make a decision network marketing if you're gonna focus on bringing on reps, or you're gonna focus on bringing on selling products and then bringing on reps. You get what I'm saying? Like, you need to come up with your strategy. And the strategy is very, very simple. It's you need leads and you need to know how to convert the leads. And one of the ways to convert leads is actually doing webinar presentations. And so I'm gonna save you guys a lot of pain. Who has ever done a webinar? Who has ever done a webinar? Okay, how'd you do? Right? And I need to know, I can't coach you if you sit there mute on the other side of the screen. Your unmuteness is you commenting, right? So don't complain that you don't have a voice if you don't use it. So get up and let me know. What did you do? I'm okay. I'm not going to judge you. But I do need to know what you did. Your comments tell me how to lead you and how to help you, right? So, okay. So somebody, they had crickets. They did one and didn't really get any sales. Good webinar, couldn't convert though. It's not a good webinar if it doesn't convert. Okay, so can we just, we're not patting ourselves on the back for just walking. If I want to walk to the other side of the living room, I pat myself on the back when I get to the side of the living room. I don't pat myself on the back because I stood up. Okay, and I know this is counterintuitive, but do you guys want to win this year, or do you want me to baby you? I know we live in a world that everything's supposed to be this is gonna be taken wrong. This inclusiveness. Inclusiveness is a dangerous thing because some of you guys are very different than me and I'm very different than you. Uniqueness is where entrepreneurship happens. Do you guys get that? So watch what you root for, because I don't know what it is, but when my son, I use my son a lot these days, don't I? My son was in karate and this little kid told him to go play with the girls. I mean, I wanted to get up and just throttle this kid as a mom because I wanted to protect my son, right? I'm sitting there in a chair and my son's playing with the boys before karate starts. And this little boy looks at Zach and he says, "Go play with the girls. We don't want you here." Now, my humanness came up, but I tempered it down. I did something, write this down, manage your mind. I know if I have an emotional trigger and I get taken out emotionally, I have lost my power. I don't see straight. I don't know what's going on. I can act in a way that I wouldn't be proud of myself for if the video is on. You guys hear what I'm saying? I know you're the same because you're freaking human, right? And so I've learned to manage my mind no matter how I feel. That's how I'm still in the game. I mean, it really is. I have sold the same products for 14 years. And some of you guys have changed products like you change underwear. You know what I mean? Or maybe change your pajamas if you wear them, right? Every week you're seeming to oh my gosh, you should go over here. Oh my gosh, you should go over here. I have a whole training coming up, even for my staff, called Stop the Spin, right? Because it's not intuitive when we get tempted to keep changing things up. So long story short, I manage my mind, and obviously I'm dealing with little kids, and I should not go off on a little kid. That would just be really bad character, right? And some of you guys have, just FYI, I know you have. You don't go after the teenagers, you don't go after the 12-year-olds, you don't treat kids like they're adults. They are figuring it out, and they are a product of the house that they live in. Okay, so if there's anyone you want to go after, it's the parents, right? And so my son's feeling bad, and I go, so he comes over to me, I go, how'd that make you feel? It was bad. And I go, get used to it. And he was like shocked, right? But I quickly followed up with the next words. I said, get used to it, Zach. I said, because when you're the best, there are always people who are going to come at you and either not understand you, not understand your heart, or they're just going to want to take you down. That's called life. And you're the best. And his little chest went out, like he went from this to this, right? And it's true. And I was like, so you go back in there. Now I taught him how to lead differently. You got to know how to lead your presentations, just like you have to know how to lead your friends, and you have to sometimes be led, right? No, like it's knowing how to be a good receiver and be led, and be a good giver and lead. If you could mute somebody. When people tell me that you're a shitty receiver, I don't hear that. I'm like, you're a shitty giver too. And I know people like completely disagree with me on this, but they go together. Because people who give from the right place, not from a place like, oh my gosh, I gave you that pen and I gave you that cell phone and I cleaned your bedroom and I put gas in your car. You know what I mean? When people are giving from the place of reminding people on the fact that they did all these things for them, they're actually doing it for their own importance. And that's a martyr. And I was one, so it was a very big blind spot for me. So I say that with a lot of empathy, because I thought I was giving to create love with people, but I wasn't. I was giving to be important. And when I got that, everything changed, and I stopped being a you-know-what. I stopped being a mean girl. I was a mean girl for everybody that I gave too much to, especially the ones I loved. I would remind them all the time on all the things that I would give them and how much they actually were not giving to me. That's called a martyr, y'all. If you're living in that moment right now, please go look it up and get free from it. Okay? When you give authentically, you don't need anything back, and you will receive, because it feels incredible to give. It feels incredible. And you would never stop someone from giving to you, because not only does it feel incredible for them, it feels incredible to receive it. It's called being completely intimate with being a human. Okay, so I told my son after he was back up in his power, I said, you go back in there and you tell that little boy that if he says something else to you, here's how you handle it. You say, don't talk to me like that. You don't have to be mean. And I'm going to stay here and I'm going to play. And so little boy came at him again, told him to hit dodge, get out of there. And my son stood there and he said, I'm not going anywhere. You don't have to be mean. I said, I'm staying here and playing with the boys. That little boy was at my son's birthday, like 4 or 5 months later. They became like this, okay? So if you don't find that people are respecting you, or you feel that people don't cherish you, or you feel like, I'm telling you, you are as much of the problem as them. People treat you how you let them treat you, and your bank accounts are a representation of what you did 90 days ago, right? Every 90 days, you see the fruits of your labor. I don't have time to go into that. I want to amp up the fruits that are coming in the next 90 days. It doesn't mean that you're not going to make money along the way, because every time you do a presentation, I want you to actually create revenue. Are we good with that? Say yes! Say yes! Okay? Okay, so I am going to give you a framework. And I think this framework is going to help you a lot. So I'm going to show you guys this. I'm not going to go through this presentation like I'm doing it. I'm going to go through this presentation to give you a framework, and I'm going to show you how to break this down, okay? This is a very old webinar of mine. I have all my webinars because I painfully did a lot of them with no results, okay? Now, I was able to, let me see if I can move this out of the way. Hold on. Wondering if I can, yes, okay. So, hold on 1 second. Oh, this brings back memories of moving stuff when I would do it on Zoom. Okay. I do a webinar and I go through this pain too. Okay, so That's a picture of me at a past zone event on a stage, and this is the same webinar. I have multiple different variations of it, and it's used to sell my list building program. Okay, so again, this is not a webinar. I'm not doing a webinar. I'm just sharing with you, there's a landing slide that nowadays you could actually put your idea in ChatGPT and ask it to come up with a copywritten headline and tagline. You can ask ChatGPT to come up with 4 versions. So in other words, like my version for this is the money spot, the secret but simple path to building a business that makes money now, right? So in that moment in my life, which is actually pretty relevant now, you can feel the eeriness in the air. There's something happening. And so people should feel the urgency to take action right now, which is why we've dedicated this month. And on Monday, we're formally starting a challenge called TakeRealAction.com. TakeRealAction.com. If you're not registered for that, you should be. TakeRealAction.com. Okay. So at this time when I was doing this, in my head, I'm sitting there looking at people. I'm like, they need to make money now. I actually believe the same thing right now in the world. Okay. So if I was working this today, I would go to ChatGPT and I would type my idea into ChatGPT. I would say, I'm writing from the place of being a world-class entrepreneur coach. So you could be a world-class or a Nobel Prize doctor. Like, this is what's wild about artificial intelligence. You can become any identity you want. So now we're not even in an inclusive conversation. We are in, you could become any identity you want. Kind of matches the world these days. For some of you guys that caught that, right? It's like, so I can go there and I can ask ChatGPT to become that persona. And here's my idea. I want to do a webinar that helps people make money right now. Come up with 5 titles and taglines. It will do that. Done. Slide done. Seconds, right? Pick one you like. This is a credibility piece. Write this framework down. By the way, the reason why I use this picture is this is me in Las Vegas, Nevada. Think my first photo shoot with bleach blonde hair. And I remember loving this picture. I look at this picture now and it cracks me up. This was the epitome of why I made no money when I started. I never had a smile on my face. Every time you have a picture of you, put a smile on your face. So I thought to be successful, you had to be serious. Okay, it hurt. It took a long time before a mentor recorded me speaking and literally showed me how I went from this, hi, Shannon, when I'd walk in the door to that girl right in front of you. So the money spot is a secret but simple path to building a business. See, I repeat the same thing, but in this slide, I tell them a background about me. Okay, so follow me for a second here. Follow me for a second here, okay? So your backstory about you is important. It doesn't need to be crazy, but it needs to be relevant to what it is that you're talking about, okay? So call it your origin story, your backstory. We have one of the women who works in our company has been doing marketing for so many years. She laughs because the language has changed, and the reason why I share that with you is because it's very rare, other than in the health industry these days. In the health industry, there's a lot of innovation, and technology, there's a lot of innovation, but success still leaves clues, right? Like if you remove the toxic load on your body, you're going to get healthier. It just is, right? If you live in a place, you have air conditioning going, you've got mercury in your body, right? What are you doing to get rid of it? Because if you don't do something to get rid of it, you will have some challenges, without a doubt. And I know nobody wants to get sick, but what are we doing to remove the toxins, right? So that's kind of a success leaves clues scenario. People don't realize that, like cheese today, cheese has like pharmaceuticals in it. So I guess if you were good with, you're good with taking all the shots, then maybe you just don't care. But if you aren't good with taking all of that and you're eating cheese, you're getting it. Okay, and so people don't understand how many toxins we have. That's why you went from no autism to now there's an autistic doctor in every city, multiple, they're overloaded. That's toxins, that's metal, right? And people are like, oh no, that's just what happened to the kid. That is not what happened to the kid. That's what happened to you, and then you birthed the baby in vitro, and they got everything passed down, and then it keep compounded. Depending on our immune systems and how we respond to toxins, determine what we end up getting. Do you guys get what I'm saying? That success leaves clues. Every doctor forever has known that. Then we just kind of put our own stuff on top of it. Well, marketing's like that. Okay, so when I look at marketing, it's like, success leaves clues. And so you have to give a backstory about you that's relevant to whatever it is you're speaking. So if I was going to speak about health, I would probably share something. I would share a backstory. Like, for instance, some of you guys may or may not know this, but after I had my son, I could barely walk for about 6 months, 5-6 months. I would get out of the bed, my legs would collapse. It was really bad. Okay, and I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I did something called knowledge therapy, and I've sciatic. I've got 2 bulging discs. I should be getting back surgery, and I have no issues with my back. I am absolutely fine, right? So that would be a backstory that I would share, but I wouldn't share that story on like the webinar you're looking at because it's irrelevant. So what you don't want to do with your stories, write this down. Stories sell in every presentation. It's not your freaking content. I know y'all want to talk about your weeds, your content, and how it's so different in how you teach people to lose weight and how you get people through trauma, but I'm sorry, it's just not that unique. What's unique is how you tell a story. What's unique, and let me go back for a second. How you tell a story tells your audience if you've got the leadership to follow through and help them. And when I hear somebody tell me a story that has a lot of blame, guilt, and a lot of times it's completely a blind spot because they believe that they got a divorce because of their spouse. Well, and that could be true. But if you tell a story from a non-responsible place, you ain't getting no people. At least not the people you want. You'll get all the people who bail on their agreements with you. Okay? You need to, your story, if you want to work with your ideal customer or client, just I'll simplify it for you. Literally tell stories that you are responsible. Do you guys get what I'm saying? So I am responsible. You are responsible. So a story I might tell in business is, okay, like the real estate story. I got my real estate license. I failed 3 times, got my license, and I'm directionally challenged. I'm giving the short story, but any story works because the points will work, right? Meaning that I don't have to give you a long drawn out story. So in real estate, because, oh, thank you. Look, Griselle got me some protein balls so that my sugar level stays good. Thank you. So I am directionally challenged. So when I started real estate, there was, who's old enough for MapQuest? Put the word map in the chat, right? Put the word map in the chat if you're a MapQuest girl or guy. Thank you, so good. Okay, so I would MapQuest where I was going to show a home. And of course I would get distracted, and it's so funny nowadays if you talk on your hands free, you get in trouble. Back then,
where's my card?
I don't know, baby.
What?
You took it with you.
Will you still give me?
You gotta go find it, but I'm on a live.
What?
But if you come in, we can't work it out. Shut the door. Okay, here's a mommy moment. Zacharuni, I'm on trainings. You can't come in, okay? All right, I love the reality TV show of the world, Reality Lives. Okay, so when I would drive, I'd be looking at my MapQuest. It's so crazy how dangerous that was, right? You guys with me? Before it went to computerized, we'd be looking at our MapQuest papers trying to figure out where to drive, and of course I would end up in total left field, and then I'd get lost, and then my whole backstory is about the fact that I lived in Las Vegas, so I was a sweaty, disgusted, late, real estate agent. And I will tell you, my last person that I ever showed a house to said to me, verbatim, I want to buy from you. This really good looking guy with his wife. He goes, I want to buy from you. I just can't. And I get it, because I was freaking late twice to show him homes. We found a house and he didn't buy the house because what does that tell him about me? That I haven't figured out a solution to my problem. I can be directionally challenged for the rest of my life. And it doesn't mean I can't sell you a piece of real estate, right? I can't spell to save my life, right? It doesn't mean I can't show you how to make a lot of money, right? What you have to pay attention to is what are the words that come out of my mouth. And that's what your customer or client or patient or whatever you call your buyer, they're actually looking for your perspective. Okay, so this unleashes, I feel like we're having a devil angel moment right now. This unleashes all of you guys that feel like you have to be good enough to make a lot of money. It's just not true. Okay, you don't have to be the smart enough, you don't have to be good enough. I know you've already heard that, but hear what I'm saying. If you're gonna trust me on showing you how to create more revenue into your household, which is important, right? It's an important conversation. Then you need to know that you are paid on your perspective. It tells people what you see. What you see makes somebody feel safe in any industry. Trauma, weight loss, media, real estate, life insurance, whatever it is you do. Okay, it's your perspective. So I know that the temptation of hell is that you have to have more, you have to be more, you have to be more valuable, but you're valuable based on the more you can give your opinion. This is why I have a big alert on the inclusion thing. I get the heart behind it, I get the intention behind it, I get all the love behind it. I completely stand against it. Because I had to figure out how to get away from the mean girls in school. That's what gave me the resilience and the wisdom. The wisdom happens in the hurtful moments. It doesn't happen in the easy moments. Do you guys get that? We have to be able to handle hard things. And if we can't handle hard things and our kids can't handle hard things, then we are going to be destroyed in marriages, relationships, partnerships, friendships. We will be destroyed. Because unless you're going to do life with a robot, you are going to have to deal with the imperfections of people's voices, thoughts, ideas, and you need to find peace in all those conversations and be able to manage your mind. Does that make sense? So I was a real estate agent that was lost all the time, and I had an aha moment. An aha moment, is that how you spell aha? See, I'm dyslexic. So I'm like, is that how you spell aha? Right? And so, yes, thank you. Is that how you spell it? So, see what I mean? Aha. See, I got two H's in there. Okay, hold on. Is that right? Is that right? I love you guys. See, we can be team, right? You guys can be the good spellers. I can be the bad one. And we can still be friends. And that works in every topic, okay? So make sure my kid doesn't come over here. So I had an aha moment that something needed to change. And the aha moment was that no go. The aha moment was that I was not going to get rich. And I had a calling to get rich. I never had a calling to be famous. I never had a calling to be a teacher. I never had a calling to get on a stage. I actually get more worried about you guys when you're like, oh my gosh, I want to be Oprah. I'm like, Oprah became Oprah because she kept solving problems. Whether you like her or not, It's like, what side of the fence do you stand on, right? And so, it's solving problems that you get your new wisdom. And your new wisdom is your new vision. And when you get that new vision, you build towards it. The problem is if you can't build towards it and you've been at the same story for a long time, then listen, the problem isn't your strategy most of the time, it's your leadership. Do you guys see what I'm saying? And so it's your perspective on life, on the situation. Like you have to change the way you look at something and then it will change. So I had this aha that I was not going to get rich showing homes one-on-one with people because my problem was I had a directional problem, right? I had a directional problem. I cannot find my way out of a paper box, right? So now my future story is that I made a decision to sell to investors. And from there, I ended up selling like 20 properties in a week or 2 weeks. And I cracked the code. So now when I go into the webinar, I summarize that on you, the buyer. Do you guys see what I'm saying? So now I want you to think right now, what story, I know we're not thinking about a product or service. Some of you guys can think about a product or service and what story kind of leads that, but sometimes it's easier to think about what's a story in your life that you figured something out. Like you were like banging your head up against the wall, it wasn't working, and then you figured it out. Do you guys have that? Put yes if you do. Okay, if you know, so I could use a story in love for this, I could use a story in anything, right? So did you figure it out? So if you didn't figure it out, you need to write yourself a note, and literally today, I want you to just, if you wait till tomorrow, you won't do it. Because I know people's leadership. Peak performance does things immediately. Okay, when you're in peak performance, you're hungry for it. You do it immediately, you don't wait. If you say, I'm gonna wait to start my diet tomorrow, I'm just gonna tell you chances are you're gonna fail. If you say, you know what, I can sacrifice the birthday cake tonight, I can sacrifice it and start my diet today, you will win. Because it's perspective. I don't need I want my goal more than I want the birthday cake. When people connect like that with what they're trying to create, urgency happens. Yesterday I talked about urgency. Right? Urgency happens. When that urgency happens, you're willing to sacrifice all the things that are not working for you. And when that happens, you become unbreakable, unstoppable, and very, very rich. Do you guys see what I'm saying? Like that is the leadership it takes. So now next time you want to put something off till tomorrow, I'm gonna invite you to let go of perfection, let go of control, and be like, well, I'll start my marathon training tomorrow. I don't have time today. Well, but what if you just went for a 10-minute run? Like just starting immediately has a huge success rate in your leadership of winning. Are you guys following me? Is this helpful? Put helpful in the chat if this is helpful. Put helpful in the chat if this is helpful, okay? So what I just said is probably one of the most important things that I could ever tell you. Because I know you guys, many of you guys have spent a lifetime trying to get what you know is yours, what you know you're supposed to have in your life. And you feel a little cuckoo because it hasn't happened yet. I just told you why it hasn't happened. I guarantee you already have a strategy in your space that would work in every problem that you have. The problem is you're not actually taking what Tony Robbins would call massive action. People don't understand what massive action is. Massive action is what I just told you. You will sacrifice the birthday cake and not have it tonight on your birthday and start your diet tonight. If that was your goal, right? You wait till tomorrow. I ain't giving you $1 to grow your business because I know that lag is in the way that you lead because it touches you touch every strategy you drive off the car lot, right? So backstory, lost real estate agent, I had an aha moment. I wasn't gonna get rich this way, something needed to change. That's your story framework. So the aha moment, something needed to change. And so then I was like, I'm not gonna get rich selling homes one-on-one. This is like all the agents I saw that were rich, they had so much time in the game. You know what I mean? Like they had been doing this for years. I want to do it in years. I was young, I wanted to get it now. You know what I mean? And so I was like, so my desire to get it now and not being okay with waiting for years. How many guys want to make money now? Put now in the chat, right? Put now in the chat. Some of you guys might be okay with it going a little bit longer because maybe you just are, right? You're more comfortable. You're not as hungry. There's stuff working out in your life. You're good, right? But you have to say, Well, what's your problem? Well, my problem was I was directionally challenged and one-on-one was not gonna make me enough money fast enough. Guarantee you guys all know what your problem is, or was your problem on your story. So this is what I had to solve, and this, unbeknownst to me, when I solved that, means that I would actually make some real money. Now, this should be a great moment for you. Because if you know what's getting in the way, what's not gonna work out, if it keeps staying in the space of your life, in the space of your business, then really you just become bullish and figure out, how do I figure that out? So I went to investment groups and I did a very imperfect video, and I had that bleach blonde hair on that webinar, and I didn't look at the camera, I looked like this, right? I was like, hi, my name is Shannon Sumter, and like I sell real estate in the States, and like that's how I sounded. It was so bad. But I did a couple things right. I sent the video. I looked up the real estate investment groups on Google, and I went to the UK because I believed that the pound was stronger than the dollar. What I didn't realize I was doing, it's always like, I may sound smart to you right now, but I didn't know what I was doing. What I was doing was I was solving my own problems fast because I was hungry. Some of you guys have settled for the standard of your life. And you are driving people in your life crazy because you're complaining about it. And I'm telling you, the problem is that you're not hungry enough to get out of the spot. I was very, very hungry to get out of that spot. I really wanted to experience rich. Okay, and I knew that I wasn't going to get there this way, and my bills were starting to pile up. Does that make sense? So I was scared, and sometimes fear does move you forward. Okay, and so investment groups, and the pound was stronger than the US dollar, so I felt like it would be easier for me to sell to them. And there was groups of them. I'd never taken a marketing class, I'd never taken a sales class, I'd never done any of that. I did it so messy, it's not funny. What I didn't realize, and this will give you guys some insight even for other parts of your business, investor groups, people pay often a small association fee. There's associations in every single one of your industries. A small association fee. I already got it. Thanks. I already got it. So my office has become a revolving door. So they pay, whenever somebody pays any sort of a subscription, association fee, something, they are a better buyer for you. So that could give you an aha moment on where are you digging for your leads. Okay, like you can pay a lot of these associations to send out an email for you. And for you guys who coach with us in any of our programs, we always teach you guys list building and summits, right? You could pay for an email and not be afraid to spend $400 or $500 or $200 on an email that is going to generate you a few hundred people on your list that are already ideal customers or clients because they're paying an association fee. Does that make sense? You guys get it? Put yes if this is kind of, do you feel like Shanda On Demand is good coaching? Do you guys feel like it? It's only good if you take action. That's why we're gonna spend this whole month taking action, okay? So the investors already had the audience. And this, by the way, was at the beginning of my world of realizing it was important for me to have my own audience because they had the email list. And that email list was paying them to be in their association, which is a double whammy of good. Okay? And so they would send out an email to their list, and then we had a conference call, not Zoom at the time, a conference call. I think it was Skype at the time, but we did conference calls. And basically we would have the developer explain the development. And we'd have a special deal for them. They filled out an application, and then we sold. Does that make sense? We just followed up for that. You could do that in any industry, coaching industry, chiropractic industry, medical industry. You could do that in any industry. Okay? And so I started selling about 20 properties every 1 to 2 weeks. And then I got mentored. This is where mentorship is off the charts. My boss gave me a mentor moment. And that mentor moment was don't sell any more real estate in developers' buildings unless they'll give you the listing. You guys follow me? This is the power of quantum jumps. Now I'm getting $40 million listings and more. Like that changes the game, right? They pay you every month. It changes the subscription game gets even bigger. So I would say if I can deliver, some of you guys have jobs that want, and even my team that want raises, you need to listen to this. I didn't negotiate this deal and say, give me your listing and I'll sell. They're like, give me a raise and I'll do better. F you. We are in a bad economy right now. It's not even a good leadership to do that in a good economy. Do you guys follow me? Like, be a good leader. I was like, if I sell 20 properties in 14 days, I get your listing. My boss came up with that. My boss was a very, very smart woman. Nobody would say no to that offer. And so I did that. And then what happened is we ended up with 2 big listings, and then they ended up with a 3rd big listing. And then we were slammed. We didn't have the ability to go any further. Really, like we need to restructure operations at that point. So I share this with you. I wouldn't share all of that in my story. I would share the real estate part, and I would say I started working with investors. This is how short I'd say it. I got this aha moment to send a video to investment groups in the UK. It's very honest. Now, I will tell you, I can directly coordinate my income based on how excited I get. Right? Like if I tell it with low energy, people comatose in a live room or in a virtual room. So this should be exciting. I figured it out. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Like I say to my son when people walk in the room, they're like, hey, I'm like, no, make them feel special. Your energy is a gift to people, you guys. It's a gift. You got to style flex it. In hardcore leadership, we call it becoming a promoter. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you are or you aren't, you need to style flex. Okay, I need to do a whole training on style flexing. So the aha moment was I wasn't going to get rich selling one-on-one homes, and I was directionally challenged, so I'd lose all my credibility and people didn't buy from me. And so I got this aha moment. The aha moment was that I could sell to real estate investors in the UK because the pound was stronger than the dollar. It seems to always be that way. And so what I did was I did this video and I sent it on Google to all these investment groups. And sure enough, I had 3 people come back and 2 ended up being my investment groups. I never looked for another buyer again. So in this webinar, in this presentation, this is your transition. In this, conference call, in this whatever, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to show you how to go from how I went from a sweaty real estate agent to an 8-figure business owner, and also did 9 figures in real estate. It's really not that challenging. There's only a few things that you really need to grab hold of. Now here's where your presentation happens. 1, 2, 3. There's 3 bullets in your presentation. Okay, I want to see who's a rock star. How do you think I lead those 3 bullets? Let's see who's thinking right now. Anybody thinking? Go in the chat. Let me know. What do you think? How do you think I lead those bullets? That's right, Rose. Stories. I lead it with stories. So I need to think. You need to think first. What are the 3 points that would show how to do your how to go from your own transition from wherever you were to the aha moment, that you're taking your audience on this. A lot of people are disconnected to that. I'm not teaching you how to do real estate. In my world, I'm teaching you how to go from having an idea and not making the money you want to make to becoming rich and not feeling bad about it. You know what I mean? So when I think about that, you need to have a message that monetizes, you need to have leads, and you need to ask your audience what it is that they want, and stop freaking being a narcissist in your marketing, right? Like you have to stop assuming that they want what, I watch some people online, especially Instagram, and I'm not saying you don't have people who follow you who think like you do, but that's only one part. You're leaving 3 audiences behind. Okay, so I'm not interested in you making some money. I'm interested in you getting way ahead. Okay, because some money wears out, especially if you get burnt out, you're tired, or you get sick. Okay, so I'm not interested in some money. I'm interested in FU money. I should change that. I'm interested in, oh, how about freedom money? Okay, so I'm interested in freedom money, FU money. Okay, so then what I would do is I would come up with a story for each of these. Okay, and I have lots of stories for these. So this is where you could use testimonial stories. And I could use one on all three. Okay, now what if you don't have testimonials? You can go to ChatGPT, Google, whatever, and find other people's stories that prove your message. So it looks like, so you have to have a message that monetizes. That's all I say. And then I tell them the story. Now there's a point to every story. You need to speak the point after you tell the story. Great example on the Ask What You Want. I did a program with Jesse Itzler. And great human being, by the way, behind closed doors. And I tried to sell the endurance program and there was nobody buying. And so then I asked them what it is that they wanted. They told me, and I created a product and a service with Jesse that sold a lot of revenue in like less than an hour. Okay, like we made a lot of revenue. So I don't know, like, it was a lot. Like, we're multiple six figures. Make sense? And so it was 1 hour of our time, which proves the point on why you need a list. Okay, so for 1 hour, we made multiple six figures. Okay? But I couldn't sell that until I asked my entrepreneurs what they wanted. And what they wanted, some of you guys are trying to sell things. Like you're trying to pitch your coffee, you're trying to pitch your agenda, you're trying to pitch your weight loss program, you're trying to pitch your corporate training, I don't know. And it's not selling. And I'm telling you, it's not selling because you can't even attract the right leads if you're not clear about what people want. And I have talked to more people than I can count that think they know what people want. I'm gonna tell you something. Why do you think I'm doing Take Action this month? Because our people here that watch these Shanda On Demands have told me that the majority of them want to figure out how to take more rapid action, more real action. That's why we're doing takerealaction.com, right? Takerealaction.com. That's why we're doing that. We're doing it for free. We're working with people, right? But that's also a customer acquisition. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Because if people are not listening to you, then you can't influence them. And I'm really clear that people need my help that still don't know I'm here. Do you know what I mean? That's why I ask people on social media to share these lives, right? Like, don't be a narcissist, be an evangelist, right? Like, go out of your way to share and help people. It changes your heart. And it changes the reciprocity that comes in. There's people that need you guys that don't know you exist yet. Do you hear what I'm saying? And so you have to go out there and you have to drive these conversations, these themes out there, and they change. So what didn't change is Shanda Sumter. I mean, I evolved, right? But what didn't change is my obsession around business and health. None of that changed, right? But what does change is the economy. I mean, the world's not the same world that I grew up in. It's not the same world when I was 20s. It's not the same world that it was 5 years ago. Okay, and I would definitely say over the last 3 years, it's at least changed twice. Do you guys agree with me? Put yes if you do or no, right? Put yes or no. So what does that mean? You need to sell with a different message all the time. This is why I do not advocate. It hurts my heart when people spend so much money on their message. I'm like, no, you need to know the process of how to get to your message because it changes. And it's changing all the time with your audience, especially right now. The more corrupt or the more uncertain the world is, the more you better get good at the framework. Okay? Because otherwise, you're going to keep needing to put out the big bucks to pay the coaches because you're going to keep needing help. Learn the framework. That's where I think we're unique at Hardcore, right? In fact, I'll take this moment. If there's anybody who does not coach with us, you do not coach with us in our Meant to Be Live program, and you would love to talk to us about really getting your message out there in a big way, put the word coach in the chat. Put the word coach in the chat. If you don't coach with us, maybe you coached with us in the past, you're like, the grass wasn't greener on the other side, Jen, I want to come back. Put the word coach. Or you've been building a business, but you know that you really need some more in-depth help to get to where you want to be. Put the word coach in the chat and somebody will reach out to you. Okay, sound good? Okay, so this is the framework of how to do this. Now, how do you go into the offer? Hopefully you guys made notes, okay? And then I'll end on this. How do you go into the offer after you have your 3 points? See, this doesn't have to be a 4-hour presentation on how to do a webinar. You need to take this, you need to go do it, and then you need to fall on your face and go, where did my leadership break? Where did I hold back? Where was I not excited enough? Where, you know what I mean? Like, was my energy flat? Did I not smile enough? Were you like Shanta Sumpter and you talk like this every time you got serious and nobody's buying, right? So you're your own worst critic, but that could actually work for you if you don't hear it as criticism. You hear it as, oh, I'm just giving myself feedback so I can get better. Does that make sense? So after you do your 3 stories, right? And you've got your points to that. So I got 3 stories and I speak the point, right? So my point is you've got to ask your audience what it is that they want. Okay, my point is that you have to have partners mail for you because you need warm traffic, not just social media or cold paid traffic. You really need warm traffic. Okay, if you need profits, you need my coaching programs because it's in referral-based list building that is more profitable than any list on the planet. Okay, so like social media is cold. Paid advertisement is cold. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? Like referred-based traffic, and if you're a client of mine right now, you should be doing the model very aggressively right now. Because even the small lists convert better than the paid lists because of the fact that it's a warm-based market. Does that make sense? You guys get that? So if I tell somebody to, Alicia, look at your product, service, or offering, or webinar, the chances are you're gonna have a lot of people come. Right? Because I've done the work to build the audience. You got to be building off referral-based lists. It's really important for profits. If you want to scale, I mean, you could still scale pretty well. My friend just did $1 million last week, and that was all referral-based, no ads, right? And so they do that all the time. And so I share that with you because everybody who loves profits does email list referraling. Sorry, I don't know how, no, anyway, you talk to Grant Cardone about that too? Where's his best leads? Go talk to Dean Graziosi. Where's his best leads? Their partners sending traffic through their email list. That's the best leads, it always is. Your list will be first, then it will be them, it'll be a close second, and then it will be it'll be paid advertisement and social media will be last. Okay? I don't make the rules up. I'm just giving you the truth on what it is. So some of you guys are not very good at sales and you're trying to hustle social media and I'm going, oh my gosh, like somebody needs to tell these people the truth. That is gonna be tough, right? Unless you're good at it or you're willing to do it nonstop all the time, okay? I like leverage. So you speak the point off each of your stories, but your stories are what articulates your webinar point. Then you need to do a transition. And that transition is into a CTA, which is a call to action. This is where people get weird, okay? So my transition on something like this might be, I go back to my origin story, right? My original story. So if you're tired like I was in doing all the right things and not getting the results, that kind of sums up what was happening to me. Right? Like that's what I felt in the moment. I felt like I worked really hard and I wasn't making any money. So it's like, if you're tired like I was on working really hard and not making the money that you want, then hopefully what we just talked about helped you. But here's what I know for sure. It was mentors that got me across the line, or maybe you're a doctor. It was doctors or this health secret, that got me freedom. This is all real. When I was trying to learn this stuff, it was like manipulation. Like I was trying to manipulate myself to fit into a framework to try and be good. I was still having an identity crisis. And I know some of you guys are. That's why I chose to do this today, right? So don't have an identity crisis in marketing. Just be honest. Don't worry about anybody buying from you. It's irrelevant. The more honest you do it, the more people will start buying from you. And it will happen fast. What if you did this every week? You'll get tired of 2 people showing up. And you will then prioritize the list building. Do you guys get what I'm saying? You got it? So if you're not coaching with us and you want some support, put the word coach in the chat. Okay, so somebody can reach out to you. Don't sit in la la land and waste another day of your life. Okay, if you're meant to be live, you should be encouraging people to watch this live even more, right? Like be an evangelist, wake up the group, be a part of the solution, right? Go do this, right? Do it Friday. And literally have a result and go back into our Facebook group and tell people, right? Like literally this is what it takes to be a great leader in the world. So I just do that transition. I just say, listen, if you're like me and you're tired of working really hard, not getting the results, there was a mentor that helped me. I would like to be that mentor for you. I would like to be that doctor for you. I would like to be that trainer for you. I would like to be that, future support for you, whatever. That's it. That's the transition. So that's why I created the XYZ product, program, solution, whatever. Now you ask yourself, do you want to put them on a phone call and talk? Do you want to have them fill out an application? You can go to email me forms and create an application. Do you want to have them comment a word below? No reason why you can't do this on an Instagram live. You know what I mean? Like you could do this anywhere, right? You could send them to a sales page. You know what I'm saying? Yes? All of those things are CTAs. You could send them to a Zoom that you set up as a registration, so they register, right? Name, phone number, email, and then you know who's interested and follow back up. Like, there's no excuse for you to be broken in today's day and age. You get what I'm saying? The problem mostly, like if you watch these lives, I do stuff like this all the time, where I train you really on how to do it. And you could rewatch this training over and over and over again. The challenge is most people won't. This will be another day of your life that goes by that you'll get some results. You need to be hungry to get extraordinary results. You cannot blame the world for you not having enough, or you not feeling like you have enough, or you not having a retirement. You can't keep blaming the world. I set up my retirement in 5 years. I am literally working on bringing that person to our front platform, hopefully this month, to be able to share with you how I did it. Okay, and so I'm trying to pull him out of retirement, to be really honest. Like, I do the craziest things behind closed doors, and it's mainly for my clients that mentor me live. But like, I'm trying to pull out the best of the best for their next mastermind in Puerto Rico, right? So that they have in 2024, right? You have to be like that for your audience. It's not good enough anymore to just sell a product, service, or whatever. You need to be a visionary. And I know you already are somewhere in there, and maybe some of you guys are very active in your visionary, but you need to ground yourself on sharing that perspective so your audience, your buyer, your patient, whatever you call your buyer, gets it. Okay? So stop selling and start leading. All right, you guys, that's it on social media. We're going to close down the ship. If you're not registered for our challenge starting on Monday, I recommend you do it on takerealaction.com. All right, you guys, see you tomorrow, social.